Hey guys, I'm here with TSM's two solo laners, Haunter and Bjergsen. Unfortunately, I've just come off a off. Haunter, how you feeling, buddy?
Feels pretty bad. I think we got outplayed pretty hard. But, you know, we didn't have that much practice going into this tournament, so it's kind of to be expected. There's a lot of things to take away from this loss.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't a great game. I think they played pretty well, though, especially Levi is always a consistent player. He had some really key kicks, leasing kicks, one on Sneaky at our base, one on me at the very end. If he didn't get the kick on me there, we definitely would have continued to stall the game and potentially come back. So I think they all played really well, but Levi is definitely the standout player.
Yeah, he's been doing exceptionally well. And of course, you kind of mentioned it, Haunter, where it does feel tough when you don't have that much time to practice. Obviously, their team got put together quite last minute, so maybe expectations for that squad wasn't that high. But what is it like practicing for a tournament like this where you don't get very much time?
You know, it's actually kind of fun just to see like how well you'll do, and because you can't take it as seriously, you gotta like try different picks. I mean, you're playing with like new players as well, so it's fun to like kind of like synergize with like Sneaky and Afro, and even Mike, and so I think it's just a good experience.
Bjerg, I'm curious, what is it like playing with some players that you've never played before on a team? You're very good at beating them and, of course, winning championships here in North America by playing against them. But what it's like kind of playing with some people that you've known for a long time that you've never got a chance to play with?
They're actually very similar to what I expected because I know Sneaky and Afro as people or as friends, and the way they communicate and play in the game is very much like I expected, I guess. So it's been a pretty good time, and we've gelled pretty well in and outside of game. Unfortunately, that didn't lead us to winning. But there's been no, I don't know, too many hardships or disagreements within the team. It seems like we're all just here to do our best and kind of gel as well as we can within this team.
Yep, and obviously a limited amount of time, kind of doing what you can. I'm curious what role a coach plays. Obviously, Song now joining TSM, but just in general, everything coming together quickly. What has Song done, Haunter, to kind of, you know, do what he can with the team given the limited time?
I think he's a very smart person. I just met him like a couple days ago, and with like the few scrim blocks we had, he gives really good feedback, and he has really good reasoning behind his feedback, so you can understand why he's saying that and why like that would be like the correct play. And so I think, and he's also really confident in what he says, so it's like really easy to trust him and take away from whatever he says, and that'll help everyone improve a lot.
And Bjerg, my final question for you. North America's chances looking a little slim, but you yourself have a 1v1 to play later in the day versus Faker. You're, of course, a former 1v1 champion. What are your thoughts on potentially winning it another time, given how difficult your bracket looks right now?
I don't know what my bracket looks like after Faker, but already meeting FoFo and Faker obviously means I haven't had an easy road. I think it'll be a fun match. I think Faker looks like he has some tricks up his sleeve with the Nasus and potentially others. I'm not really sure, so I think a lot of it is going to come down to what matchup we end up playing, and both the matchup and then just how good you are at dodging skill shots, hitting skill shots, and playing around the relics for the heal. I think that'll be really important.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. Sorry again for the loss early in the day, but we are going to throw it over to the Karsas to get into our next game.
Thank you very much, Pace, for your time, and welcome back to our next matchup. It's Europe versus the LMS All-Stars. On the blue side is going to be the European All-Stars. We're going to start with that lineup right now. Their top laner, the Baguette, the Frenchman himself.
The
Baguette.
the dog.
He is the Baguette. He is. It's wonderful. He won a game off of Nasus earlier. sOAZ in the top lane. He's absolutely amazing. Jankos in the jungle. Got some props from Karsa in Champ Select in the chat right here. PowerOfEvil in the mid lane. Rekkles in the bot lane alongside IgNar and their coach Youngbuck yet again.
And on the opposite side, it is the LMS. Ziv in the top lane. Karsa in the jungle. FoFo mid. Bebe in bottom lane, SwordArT supporting him, and Coach Steak on the stage with them.
And we're already into the very end of the group stage here. We're in day 2. It's a single run robin, 3 games to play. So we've already got bracketology on the line. LMS are 2-0 if they win here. They've aced their group, 3-0 the number 1. No matter what, they've secured number 1. If they lose, the worst they can do is tiebreak. They might tiebreak for first place and second place if like Korea loses, or you know they
They'll have a
for a
chance.
3-way tie. Either way, they're at least in a tiebreak no matter what. Europe basically, if they win, they're tied for first. The highest anyone could do in that group, they'd be 2-1. Anyone else would be 2-1, like LMS and probably Korea if they win their other match. So
yeah.
Europe's in a pretty good spot if they win. If they lose, they're hoping Turkey beats Korea to 3-way tie last. Otherwise, they're out if they don't win this one. If Korea and Korea wins, Europe loses, Europe's out. So pretty important game for Europe, absolutely. The tiebreaker first.
Both teams super looking forward to this game, as are we. And remember that FoFo has been one of the guys who's been first picking Zoe, and right off the board, Europe, they said we're not going to make that mistake again. They gave it away in their opening game.
Sure.
And there we go, on the ban list.
And we saw that FoFo certainly was willing to play it and do well on it. I want to see if Kha'Zix becomes a highly prized champion, because we've seen both Jankos and Karsa do exceptionally, and Jankos says, yeah, we're going to ban it. We have a different first pick in mind, and that won't be Xayah that's gone. Misfortune's off the table as well. See what it ends up being.
Yeah, these bans, all we've seen before, as starting to kind of solidify here, only 2 days in. But the Tahm Kench, we've also seen him rise in priority, but not quite all the way to first pick status yet.
Yeah, but that was kind of the inkling as you start thinking about all the matchups and whatnot. If you're going to play a tank support, Tahm Kench tends to win the matchups, and he's resilient enough into the poke ones that he seems to do okay.
There's so many things, because everyone always will point to, oh, he can take people out of CC. And yes, that is important, in this meta and saving people from all the long-range poke, but also the ability to, take someone else a long distance really does help out with the meta game right now. The long lanes and the side lanes are super dangerous for most people. Tahm Kench can both attack the enemy's side lanes if they get ahead, or try and defend their own if they do have to play some defense here. Gnar and Azir, though, super strong solo laners locked in for the LMS.
To the case here, and yeah, scaling is in there. So FoFo, Zoe taken away, just grabs the Azir for himself, and certainly has been a strong champion. We'll see what he goes for, because I think there's definitely a lot of variability allowed in Azir builds. Because of mana flow ban, you don't have to go Merlinomicon early on. You can go Nashor's Tooth, where you go for the double pen build. We've seen almost everyone go Legend Alacrity in the secondary, but I think there's options there as well. For
Boom!
Options.
Insta-lock Lee Sin here for Jankos as well.
Love it.
See if he's going to be able to get some similar kicks to Levi this time around. Azir, by the way, also, I feel like as long as Xayah is banned, and Xayah has been banned in the first phase most of the games, then people are really comfortable blinding this champion.
When sOAZ getting to play more damage-focused champions, he got his one Maokai game out of the way, and he says, I'm not doing it ever again. Because Nasus gets a Camille now for himself, unless IgNar is supporting it, which I doubt, because there's Tahm Kench already in there. So Camille for sOAZ gets to go play some dynamic League of Legends and battle Ziv up in that top lane.
I really do enjoy it into Gnar as well. She gets to choose her timing here, trying to land that stun in the mini form, knock him out of hops and stuff. See if he gets some jungler attention, though. They've already shown the Lee Sin, so they're like, hey, we have the possibility of camping this lane and trying to get a split pusher ahead. What you gonna do about it?
Don't know what they're gonna do just yet, but also Europe right now lacking in magic damage, so we'll see if LMS can pinch the mid lane pool in any meaningful way at all, or if they look at what kind of marksman Rekkles plays down there, as the bans have yet to really come through. LMS to make the first choice, and they are going to get rid of Orianna away from PowerOfEvil, continuing that target ban at his pool.
Yeah, Malzahar, Lux, Talia, all these things are still floating around.
Yeah.
And those are possibilities. But as far as the overall team composition for LMS, if we look at that one first, they're setting up for, as you said, first, strong scaling, but also just very solid 5-on-5 fights here. Sejuani plus Gnar, really strong front line. Azir himself is already a strong back line. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how they round it out with, because more of the lethality AD carries are finding their way onto this ban board. But as we've already seen, Tristana is still very much viable, and there are plenty of options left.
So wait to see what comes through on this one. Comet Ash, unlikely, but it's, I guess, also there is an opportunity. As the final ban's coming through. Yet no Varus, no Jhin. Misfortune's already been banned before. See what comes through.
Yeah, I mean, Ash for me loses a lot of priority when Tahm Kench is on the board. He's just so annoying. You finally are like, I hit a good arrow! And he's like, nice job hitting that arrow, buddy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You know what I find interesting, actually, is certainly Comet has raised a lot of value for the Jins and MFs and Varus of the world. Kallista's basically unpicked. Like, Kalista, just like Trist, are basically unchanged, and Trist getting played and Kallista's not. Kalista was 100% pick ban at Worlds after the play-in stage, actually, for the entire thing, I think. And then she's like, no, we don't care anymore. No one cares about Kalista at all. Unchanged entirely. Yes, okay, the game around her is a bit different, sure, but I think it's very fun to have a champion go to 100-0 with no changes.
And and Tristana is still back.
Yeah,
Has
Tristana's
not gone
still...
from 100 to 0, maybe 100 to like 85.
I mean, she went from 85 to about 30%, right? She's in some of the games here in this one. Obviously a very strong champion, certainly one of the safest conventional marksmen. Rekkles is going to answer this with a Xayah, though, which I actually quite like as well. I'm pretty sure you can... if you play it right, you can outplay explosive charge with the ultimate and dodge the damage, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's weird that they banned out the Rakan right before.
That's true.
4-4 though, because we had not seen either of those champions popping up in preseason.
Ooh!
Similarly,
Mid lane Kog'Maw for PowerOfEvil. That's gonna be fun.
you were riding off the support. It could go anywhere. Could still either be a Camille as well. We could have a Tahm Kench top lane.
Tahm Kench top lane, Camille support. All right, sure.
I'm sorry, Freak. I'm just throwing.
Kog'Maw top, Tahm Kench mid, Camille jungle, Lee Sin support like in solo queue. Karma gonna come through in for the support role, and I think it's gonna be fun. This was probably gonna be ultimate hat Karma, and if you haven't seen ultimate, especially to Janna, Karma would have been cooler. Janna, of course, still very, very strong, but this is a super defensive lineup for two marksman-esque backliners in Azir and Tristana.
Whoa. You're trying to say Janna is not exciting, Freak? She's not interesting?
I think she is interesting. I think, because this is, for those who don't know, this is rework Janna, right? If you watched Worlds, Janna was dumb and uninteractive. Janna now has a lot more damage in her kit. Her shield is a much longer cooldown early game, and is more interesting to watch.
And let me just emphasize that, because you hit the tip of the iceberg here, and the Airy, we are also still pre-nerf Airy here, aren't we?
No, this is normal Airy.
Okay.
This is 723, which is with
It's
nerf.
even with regular, even with the
Non-busted Airy.
current Airy.
Current Airy.
Still, if you W spam people with Janna currently,
It hurts.
a lot of damage. And we'll see if they're able to get that bully lane off the table here, because Tristana, as we said already, can go for those all-ins.
All right, post-mini rework Janna, lots more move speed on her own kit. And yeah, W is a big source of power of the champion. See how it goes up against Xayah, Tahm, Kench in the bot lane. Gonna be a fun one here as the coaches shake hands, and well, there's a chance this is the last game that the European All-Stars play here at All-Stars if they do not make it into the tiebreak. LMS, though, with a win, 3-0, will top their group for sure. No one can touch them if they can do that. Let's see how they do with double frontline, super defensive support, and Trist Azir, Bebe, and FoFo gonna be the hard carries this game damage-wise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Europe is looking for some early action here. They want this game to look like a preseason game, get some all-star plays going. Jankos is on Lee Sin, First Blood King. Let's see if he lives up to his name. Karsa was paying homage to him in the Champion Select.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one as we load ourselves into the game. And I have something I want to look at very quickly as well as soon as we get the stats in this one. Is PowerOfEvil going Presence of Mind Kog'Maw? On kill or assist or level up, you refund all mana cost for 5 seconds, which means in a team fight, PoE can chain ults for basically ever, which on a champion like Kog'Maw or Cassin, it's a really big deal. Once I get those stats, I'll let you know if it happens, but I really hope he's doing it.
And he, too, has Airy, even in the nerfed form. Get a lot of value out of that on Kog'Maw. It's very easy for Kog'Maw to proc it. Basically, the Airy, as soon as she makes her return trip, you're looking to get it off again and tag the enemy. FoFo will be trying to dodge as much as he can. Another thing we touched on in Champ Select was like, okay, whenever Xerath is banned, we're expecting the blind Azirs, but because the only thing he really used to worry about was poke. But Kog'Maw here, especially mid Kog'Maw, extremely strong poke, and we'll see if PowerOfEvil will be accurate.
And he is going Presence of Mind in there. We got the stats in, so that's awesome. Marksman Precision Secondary, Presence of Mind, coup de grace. He can snipe things out, and he can just start snowballing in a team fight. And yeah, playing another sort of secondary poke champion in the role. Rekkles running Fleet Footwork on Xayah to have the match a bit better, getting the reworked Warlords. Quick stun now on Azir in the top lane. Q's gonna land, and they force a 1-minute, 25-second flash out of Ziv in the top lane.
Oh, you said they were looking for early action, buddy.
Yeah,
and
they
they
got
got some early action. Now they're going to go with the red buff start. Steal this one away as well. Look like they're trying to get some room for Camille to work with on the top side.
And Bebe is running Ravenous Hunter on Tristana, by the way, which certainly, yes, affects her E active and passive, but again, affects static Shiv. So as soon as you get to be a sort of static Shiv, if you crit a mini wave, you'll get a couple hundred health back on that. And feels pretty good. So a way to get some sustain in Tristana, even in a slightly weird way. As PoE is pushed in right now by FoFo. I actually kind of would have liked to see PoE go, even though he's playing AP Kog'Maw, Legend Alacrity as a secondary. So that he just has the W fallback pattern and the 18% attack speed from stacking that up instead of going coup de grace for the damage to low health targets. I think it's a nice, like, extra team fight.
Ooh, I mean, it is nice, you know, to have that little bit of attack speed, but it's really hard to argue with actually being able to kill someone with your last
Yeah,
shot. You know,
you're right.
He is artillery. You're looking to find those last hits. We saw him on Xerath earlier in our first game.
He was good.
Sniping everybody with last hits there. So you could definitely follow the logic.
Yeah. I don't think it's wrong. I think I would like to see if mid Kog'Maw becomes more popular. That differentiation, people trying both sides.
Side note, I'm just glad that Freak doesn't get everything that he wants because he wants some nutty things. There we go, though.
Oh, he's going to be getting pushed back. Jankos wants first blood at the top lane. Nearly got it there. Ziv flashless. He can use TP to get back to lane. And Karsa's going to try to hold the lane up. Jankos spots someone.
Give me that crud, boy.
Gets one.
Okay.
Gives the rest over.
He got 10 gold out of it.
Well, they both have smite. This is going to be fun. Here we go.
I mean, this is fun to watch, but really what was important there is the minions denied on top side. You know, sOAZ getting a lot of those denied to Ziv on Gnar, who also teleports back with a health deficit, plus takes some damage on arrival.
I think it's funny that sOAZ is going Comet Camille, by the way, because all of the spells that deal damage, which is the W and E, both crowd control, as long as you can get outside the W. So it does hit confirm Comet. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, it is interesting. I also had that moment when I was looking it up on Stats website here to see what the highest win rate is. And it actually
Comet?
It actually was Comet. I
Oh.
was like, oh, funny how that works. I guess it does count with, with the slow. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Any slow, basically, guarantees you laning power if you have Comet, right?
Yep.
Because you cannot dodge that extra damage. And he's going to find a lot of success so far. All right. Now, though, with all that top side focus, Jankos actually is still able to return down to his bottom side and pick up a very late blue buff. This is going to stagger his, red buff, excuse me.
Yeah.
It is going to stagger his red buff spawns. And we'll see if he's actually able to make use of this one because Karsa is looking around mid lane.
Oh, he's looking for PowerOfEvil. Just barely out of fog, but now gets spotted by Jankos, who snags the ward for 1 gold. Ward hops in for a bit of damage to Karsa, but actually hits E2 before the Frost Armor breaks and doesn't land the slow.
Meanwhile, we had a little bit of a roam as well from IgNar. He was looking to make that play happen. They really are kind of taking Jankos' lead on this one. Everywhere he's looking to exert pressure, the Rangers are
that was
capitalizing.
slick. Lands the root on a BB. Nicely done, duking to the side. Gets a good bit of damage there.
Yeah, Rekkles and IgNar feeling pretty confident here in this lane. Another bit of harassment comes out. So it looks like Tahm Kench harassment even taking priority there.
Here comes back to this one is mid lane trading back and forth. Right now a 10 farm lead for FoFo, doing quite well against PowerOfEvil despite really no actual jungle pressure in this lane. So great early lane lead to Azir. Typically you wouldn't consider the Cog the counter in lane, but in overall game pattern you should expect the artillery to eventually be hard for Azir to deal with.
Exactly. We're going to look to later in the game when the range advantage and the chunk you can take out of Azir dissuades him from entering skirmishes, dissuades him from having that map pressure because poke is so annoying to this champion and have no way of regenerating. Spell Vamp doesn't really exist that much anymore in the game, and sustain is really hard for him to find.
It's funny because you're right that there's no runes and you have to go Gunblade, which is weird, but you do have everyone always can go Ravenous Hunter if they want to. Everyone has the option of going for that path. I'm not saying it's optimal, but it's always fun to see who does make those choices, and I think over time you'll see that differentiation happen a bit more. People opting into Spell Vamp if they need it for the matchup. Haste of Blood. Domination actually has just 2 sustain options in its secondary path at all times, and I think that's kind of interesting sometimes. So right now 100 gold lead to the LMS. Karsa not on quite the aggro jungler here on the Sejuani, but certainly can have an impact in the game. Top lane still being pushed in. sOAZ has once again shoved Ziv under his turret. Karsa was recalling behind the turret to make sure there's no dive. Actually did get spotted, so they know. Oh, Jankos gonna stop the recall, goes for damage, and forcing the flash out. sOAZ trading his flash with Karsa's here.
Yeah, quick trigger finger there. I did a quick check for you to look at the secondaries, and he did go with the offensive secondaries, but he went cheap shot and zombie ward. So yeah, definitely could have easily, without too much of a sidestep there, gone for it. Ziv, though, now is the target.
Yeah, gets his own flash gone right as the ulti times out. That was slick by sOAZ. He ulted to dodge the Mega Gnar. Gnar, it's called, actually, which makes it awkward, but did get away from the ultimate with his own ult. That was nice.
We are coasting here, very close in gold for the opening of this game. So LMS holding strong here, and this is kind of how they wanted the opening to go. Even though it's been close, no kills have been given over yet.
Absolutely the case here right now, though. It's Yeah, bot lane is going back and forth. 5 CS difference doesn't mean very much right here. They're trading quite nicely. Again, Rekkles going for a very sustained focus build. Doran's shield went fleet footwork as well. He wants to not die in lane, and so far he's surviving it. But that is less team fight power down the line.
It's interesting because I was just talking to Rekkles yesterday. We had him on the analyst desk for a little bit, and this was one of the topics that we were able to, bring up with him. And he was talking about how a lot of things people shunned at the very beginning of preseason because they're excited to try the new stuff still hold value.
Right.
And it's a lot of the points you're talking about, even though on live, free footwork is much better. He said that it's still valuable in these cases where you're really relying on sustain. That is still the source, even though it's not as quite as strong as live. Actually, we might have a dive here, so let's talk about sOAZ.
sOAZ, no summoners, no ultimate, not any way out at all. First blood comes through for the LMS, courtesy of Karsa.
Bottom side, they're looking to answer. Jankos.
Bebe not going to get rooted up. Nice ulti, gets in the way as well. The flash out from Bebe makes sure no kickback to be had. Jankos flashed in and out there.
SwordArT with the D9 here, and LMS are on the board. They got the first blood kill. Plus, that's going to allow Ziv to continue pushing. And the worst news of all, sOAZ teleport not quite back up yet. I guess it's not the worst news because, what is that, a few more seconds left on the cooldown.
Yeah.
And after he revives, he should be able to get up there.
Yeah, he's walking halfway. He'll be okay, but yeah, he misses one wave for that one. IgNar losing the recall as well. Nice little play by SwordArT, lands the tornado.
All right, so the cooldown was desynced just enough that he's walking back the lane instead. So it will be interesting to see if he decides to use that teleport on bottom side as Tahm. Oh, they're actually going to do it.
They're bringing in the Lee Sin. Here comes the TP in for Ziv. sOAZ not going to join just yet. And there's the ulti in. Going to look for Bebe, but he's got a lot of teammates around, so sOAZ doesn't have the damage. IgNar, got to be careful this one as they push him away.
Here, though. 5 European members on bot side.
Do they have the action? Looks like no. Karsa is walking in to make sure it's all safe, and no kills to be had for that double TP.
Everybody draws out the guns.
Yep.
And it's a standoff. Slowly
And they walk
lower it,
away.
Walk away. All right, bottom lane is the safe zone right now.
Yep. A couple of flesh wounds, no kills, though. Back to the hospital they go. Not a big problem. Their health insurance is good. We're playing in Canada. It's all right. 900 gold lead. LMS. Ziv getting more alacrity.
Man, I'm the bottom laner now. Here.
Yeah. I was a mark, but now I'm a tank. I'm both.
Gonna be able to get a decent amount of the last hits, but Rekkles gonna push him off eventually. They are committing to this swap though, as Bebe and SwordArT are on the top side. Tristana, you're always gonna talk about BF Sword swaps, right? She's gonna be able to power through the turret. Let's see if Ziv and Karsa would be able to defend this one, because there is a little bit of a jump start for Europe here. So sOAZ has actually stayed down there, so they're trying to push for some first turret bonus gold and take advantage.
Jankos back here again. No ulti for a few more seconds. Not going to have her for this fight. Scars with Spotsman. Look at this. So much damage to the top lane. Bebe likely to get first turret now in this one. 11 minutes in.
Yeah, pays off here. Tristana in the swap. BF Sword and Berserker Greaves. Perfect for turret killing.
Oh, yeah.
Janna Shield even helps out a lot, and they're able to capitalize. Let's see what Jankos is going to get a piece of.
Not too much. He breaks the passive off and puts that structure cooldown, and they will trade turrets, but first turret gold, of course, had already gone over. Now looking for the chase down into Ziv. Gets decent damage here, but it's going to be Gnar soon. Has ulti available. Respect has to be given over. A dodge out from Rekkles. He actually had the ulti to not be stunned up, and look at this coming out of PowerOfEvil as well. The snipes coming in, pushing Karsa away, but this means Bebe has continued to be untouched. No one's getting this far, but he's getting a lot of damage in this turret.
That Tristana dream life. Pushing the side wave, getting all the
1v0.
minions, taking down turrets left and right. They even sent SwordArT back. He was able to make sure nobody else was going to need any sort of assistance there. And the LMS actually starting out so strong with the 2-0 and also continuing here into day number 2 looking strong with a fairly sizable lead here over Europe.
And Bebe actually giving respect that more members could be coming. In fact, it was only Rekkles, which means Bebe was safe to stay and get the kill on top lane 2-2 turret. Europe didn't really come in to defend, so a misjudgment by Bebe means no second turret kill, but still, of course, that push in general was great for the LMS.
And this is starting to get worrisome for the European lineup, because if you look at the overall team composition and what they're trying to pull off here, with PowerOfEvil on this Kog'Maw mid lane, not the highest mobility, he's looking for that long range poke damage, and they want to utilize the split push in Camille and the Tahm Kench to shake things up, take advantage, but the #1 building block that was supposed to get that game plan off of the table and the Lee Sin and creating early action.
Yep.
They actually weren't able to convert because the LMS played such good defense early and were able to kind of get through that period that now it's really the ball in their court.
Well, let's see if they can do anything with this one as the LMS with what kind of gold lead with that first turret gold helping that. Going to keep their pressure going around the map. They've got decent engaged tools when Gnar pops up and when Karsa's got his ultimate, which is not just yet, but soon. They can look for that next little pick and find something else to kill. Nashor's Tooth done for FoFo here in the mid lane on the Azir. And Rift Herald on their sights, but they're going to walk by it for now. But they're all spotted by a ward, meaning this isn't easy to do much anything.
Yep, Scuttle Crab taken up. They can just head back down. You know, right now, LMS don't have to give up any objectives. So they're securing vision first. Now, congregating around this mid turret.
Wave go to PowerOfEvil. The tornado comes in, almost zones them out. The turret stays at above half HP, so a half decent defense for the European LCS. sOAZ actually still splitting in the bot lane. He's getting some unanswered farm for a short time. Karsa looking at a blue buff steal here for himself, saving the stun for some burst. Jankos wants in, but he's got to respect everyone else being around, and decent enough, Karsa secures that blue steal.
Yeah, slowly but surely here. LMS, the war machine kind of rolling forward. Uh-oh.
Then, but SwordArT is here, and suddenly he's got to run away from this one. No knock-up here from Tornado, but he brings in some teammates on the other side of the map. Here comes the Duncan, and Zim does not have a way out. A 3v1, no fair, he cries, but he falls. 1 kill for Europe.
There we go, and Jankos is on the run!
And he might just die. Ward hop to the satchel. Beautiful out of Jankos. Keeps himself alive, but now he's got no way out. Looks for Karsa, can't make it happen. SwordArT securing his own kill.
Got to take a little look around the Wolf Pits. Currently, though, Bebe going to push in, and they should be able to take up this objective. Right before that, though, we may get a replay of the bottom side. We were just mentioning Camille split pushing, using the Tahm Kench ultimate to try and take advantage and create an explosive play. That was accomplished on the bottom side of the map, even though we had this kind of skirmisher around mid lane, and Jankos did end up going down.
Yeah.
Europe were finally able to get play for themselves. There we go, and we are going to get the replay. Here it goes. sOAZ with the Camille jumps in, close the distance, and Gnar and Rekkles arrive to just make sure they get the job done.
Yeah, got it pretty cleanly enough. We have to chase it on Jankos, who almost made this amazing. If he'd ward hopped a bit more to the right instead of going over the wall, just went kind of down towards the lane, he would have been fine.
Or if only Lee Sin had 5 jumps in his kick.
If only the game were
had enough.
different, yeah, things would have been differently. That's a fair point, Kobe. Either way, Jankos, sadly, 0-1 and 0, not having the impact he maybe wanted here in this. Still a reasonably close game. Teams only about 2,000 apart. So once again, on the split push game, he's got that 5-minute lead. Trinity Force not far from being done, actually. Only needs about 700 gold till he's got it. And that'll be an incredibly important power spike for him.
Definitely true. Meanwhile, though, Zip's stacking up pretty nicely himself. Not going to be a pushover in the side lane, as he is working towards the Black Cleaver. Should be able to complete it around the same time, and he already does have a bit of armor for himself. You can see sOAZ definitely respects the Gnar coming to lane, so does get a cheeky little comet proc in.
There we go. Damage on the mountain break should be pretty easy to secure here, as there's not enough lane pressure anywhere else. Mid lane coming back to equal, and bot lane actually was pushed in first by Ziv a little bit. First trick of the game goes to the LMS mountain for them. Ironically, not in this game. Ziv's jungler, but it's Karsa instead.
Yeah.
Ziv hoping maybe he has a jungler, as sOAZ does some good damage to him, but here comes Karsa. He's got a jungler. Oh, a nice juke to the side, gets away from the Glacial Prison by a lot. Jumps with the ultimate. Karsa under the turret as the stun has the damage. One more shot. Oh, he does go down. IgNar can't save him in time. But Karsa's on the wrong side of the map now. Is there reinforcements coming at all? Nice little tongue lash.
He's
IgNar
hungry.
wants something, but Ziv is here to slow him down with the boomerang toss. And the Q might not be enough. Jankos coming, wants to get the play. IgNar, can you come back so I can jump to you? Doesn't matter. Karsa gets away with it. Nicely done to the LMS.
Ziv keeps throwing the boomerang at him. He's like, hey, dude, put away that silverware. Nobody's going to get anything tonight.
Stay hungry, stay humble. LMS making sure they all stay okay in the mid lane.
Stay free, boys. 3 kills here for the LMS. Kind of nursing their lead at the moment, and it is looking good for them. What a tournament they have had. My goodness. Especially this guy FoFo here. This is one we wanted to see on the international stage for a while now, and he finally gets his chance. see if the Azir can make some big plays for them as we move forward into this game, because it's really starting to power up. Still, though, we're going to talk about the side lanes here as sOAZ went in for that trade. As you said, junglers, the great equalizer. Even if you have the zoning Sejuani ultimate there, they're able to pull it off. And it's interesting here because Ziv goes to make sure that Karsa gets the alone time and we'll get that 1v1 kill. But IgNar flashes right over it. He tries to get in there. As you said, it's not in time for the save, but it was almost in time to try and get the answer kill. If it wasn't for Ziv once again, playing some defensive peel there for his jungler and allowing him to get out.
It was dangerously close right there. I mean, seconds, fractions of a second away from him surviving on this one, but it's the way it went down. The LMS continue to enjoy their 2.4 thousand gold lead here as they keep the pressure on, hoping to make it a 3-0 run in the group stage, especially after the rather disappointing performance from all the LMS teams at Worlds. I mean, you had just some of the most unlikely results, but they were all bad for the LMS, really. Now looking for maybe a little something to come through in this one as Jankos gets away from the house toss and Ziv is just fine.
Yeah, he still has the teleport as well, and as you can see, minion control is in LMS favor, so they're really trying to just continue with the pressure, close the loop here. Outer turret in mid, is basically the main defense here for Europe. They're trying to hold on to. PowerOfEvil, thankfully for Europe, has gotten to that level 11 for Kog'Maw, which is very important, but it still is going to be a while in the making for them to really establish that that reset that they want on the control of the vision.
We can come up next as FoFo leading the charge back to the mid lane, and the LMS secure more and more objectives. We'll see if they park the Rift Herald like Jankos did in the previous game today, or if they've got another plan with it.
A lot of people unaware that you could do that before, but you have to be careful when you spawn it, by the way. I messed up trying to spawn it in there.
I believe it.
A couple of times. It's hard to get her to her new home behind the Krugs, but it opens up a lot of interesting strategies. Because as funny as it is, it actually could be a very viable strategy. We mentioned, you can put pressure bottom lane, if you are the blue side and try and do some sort of Baron shenanigans, but it also has very important BM ramifications. You can hold her till the end of the game to get her to dance
Herald to win the game.
Nexus. So
Beautiful.
the options are limitless.
That's amazing. I think the first time I played against the new Rift Herald, they were very obviously summoning it opposite Baron, and I had TP down. I'm like, it's okay though. I'm gonna fight Rift Herald though. Make sure you don't lose bot lane 3-6 turret. Knowing they're gonna do Baron, it's like it's okay. I'm gonna save this turret. You guys just 4v5 that. They didn't 4v5 it. I made the wrong choice. But that was my first experience with Rift Herald.
It's all right, dude. We all make mistakes.
Yep. Okay, let's see what comes in next. Is LMS just playing a slow, controlled game, and it's kind of no surprise for this squad. And look at their pedigree. A 4-kill game in 20 minutes. Look at the Baron setup. It is alive. And see if they get the work for it.
Yeah, people are always looking for the right combination coming out of the LMS. You know, it was such a top-heavy region. Everyone was always like, if we could only concentrate all power onto an all-star team. An all-star team. Interesting, guys.
So the mid lane, 2-time MVP FoFo. Karsa, the best jungler of all time, to come out of that region. Okay, that sounds good. Bebe, he won a world championship. That seems like a pretty good idea. And
In fact,
pretty well.
You can see Rekkles in her natural habitat.
The mid lane, chomping on her natural predator prey.
Turret?
Yeah, the turret, mid lane outer. I feel like 80% of all Rift Herald turret kills are mid lane outer.
Yeah, I would also say like 90% of Rift Herald turret kills like that are suicide missions. She gets taken down right after.
Immediately.
Honorable work though. She's always objective focused.
Honorable Sudoku.
Looking for.
It's gonna be okay. They're all staying alive, and now PowerOfEvil forced to run a little bit back. It's gonna be fun though. But still, the turrets continue to add up. LMS with a not too flashy, but still very useful kill on that top lane, or sorry, mid lane outer. Of course, top lane 2-2's already gone thanks to BB's efforts earlier on in the game. Now sOAZ wants to tower dive Ziv, but gets charged a bit low. Now down half HP. He's actually running absolute focus. The stats when you're almost full HP, and that's kind of been disabled now. Jankos kicking back the other jungler, gonna ward off back to safety. As they just trade some damage, and Europe runs away.
Yeah, Europe. They still need to go ahead full steam with this split push strategy here with sOAZ on the Camille. Trying to create that pressure and looking to pick people off. IgNar and Tahm Kench has been extremely good in pulling off the plays they're looking for out of him. It's just a problem of the LMS squad is such a stable lineup here with the double front line and the super protected back line. If you look at back lines and you're like, okay, people who can peel for themselves and scale great in the late game, those are the two primary champions you look at. Azir and Tristana can both protect themselves, but on top of it, they've got Janna and an insane front line. It's like, this is the most stable 5-on-5 you can almost assemble in the current meta. So LMS is basically this grind squad that can move around, and if they assemble all parts, very hard to crack into the middle.
You know, I'm kind of sad that we use Voltron and not like the Megazord, because I grew up on Power Rangers and that was like the reference to me, but it was always Voltron, which I never watched.
Yeah. Same for me, actually. I had the Power Rangers lunchbox. I was all in there for the Red Ranger.
Okay.
By the way. What was your favorite?
Definitely the Pink Ranger.
Good answer.
I'll be honest about that one. That was definitely my jam.
Good answer.
I had the TV guide with the Power Rangers on it. That was good. Kept that one for a while.
Meanwhile, we've got the guide as far as the standard standard item builds here for LMS as well.
Yeah.
Not only do they have the 5-on-5 super strong team comp, but crit coming in here from Tristana. Tank items coming in from the jungler. Sejuani has crit reduction already, and there's not even an Infinity Edge on Rekkles, so Karsa's going to be extremely tanky, difficult to take him down, and he'll be right on the front line. So LMS coming through with the objective focus now, even with Scuttle Crab taking over around Baron.
One thing I'm a little surprised by, although I think it's interesting, it's still good, is SwordArT. He's got the redemption for himself, and there's a lot of good active items on support. He's not going Ingenious Hunters, activating CDR talent or rune in the domination path, but he's actually gone Magical Footwear and 5 CDR Cosmic Insight. But that's fine. Of course, that's still very good as well. Janna benefits from the extra boots you get out of running for the free boots. That's going to feel pretty good for him as Bebe comes back to join the team towards this top side of the river. This Baron still waiting to be killed, but with double Mountain Drake, you know it's going to be fast through an Azir Tristana. PowerOfEvil pushed away again by FoFo. He has not gotten inroads in this game.
Yeah, FoFo has been quietly keeping up the pressure around that mid lane. Nice CS for him. And more importantly, the control around this Baron, because even though we're only almost 25 minutes into the game, that's a very viable option, and here they go.
And they're going to two-man it for now. No vision at all. You can see the rest of the squad. Doesn't matter.
Double Mountain Drake with an Azir DPS.
Like, oh, okay, they were on it. Okay, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
They walked away. It's cool.
Throw 2 members at that sucker, and you really have to respect it. Europe, though, got their wits about them. They know that with 2 mountains, this is definitely going to be a pain point for them. sOAZ also feeling the pain now.
And he has to flash away from Ziv, can no longer handle the 1v1. He can kind of pick it too. He's got no way out. 2 more attacks will do him in, but only one lands the boomerang from Fog of War. Ziv no scopes him for the solo kill.
Ziv has been the all-star top laner for the LMS for so long. He's able to take down sOAZ here in that split push game. Split push, by the way, is the hope for Europe. So that one kind of being dashed here. Now it's just up to the LMS. They have so much control of this game. Group up. They can try and bait around Baron. They can even wait for the minion wave to get down to that bottom turret. Ziv could knock over the last outer turret for themselves, and they're doing both at once.
And they're going to go for this one pretty easily. Who's going to stop them? Europe's going to try, but can they even show up in time? Redemption make sure they have the health, and look at that. Baron secured cleanly by the LMS All-Stars. And here comes Ziv around the wings as well. IgNar going to be slowed. PowerOfEvil going to get chomped up. The flash over the wall to get away from the Sejuani. So nicely played by IgNar. PoE comes back in for a bit of poke, but lands none of it. LMS clean on the execution here.
All right. Checkbox number 2. Done here for the LMS. Now that they have Baron, they can press really deeply into European territory.
About that fight again. Yeah, Ziv has a frozen mallet now, and as soon as sOAZ misses the stun, he is actually just dead immediately.
Yeah, because
no way out.
He's slowed on arrival there. Ziv immediately, really nice boomerang. He threw it along the trajectory, the only trajectory from the point that sOAZ chose to go to on that wall. You can see the immediate boomerang comes out. So really intelligent there from Ziv. You can, once you're locked into that animation, unless he's going to jump somewhere else, in which case you're not in danger, you throw your boomerang right along that straight line. And you can see it turns out so well for him. Chases down the kill, spends his flash, and is able to right the ship here for LMS.
Ooh, look at the play. They do pull in FoFo. The cage stays alive, but the rest of the squad's coming. Karsa actually chasing away sOAZ in this one. At half HP on Camille. and no tank stats to his name really at all. Has to just run away from this one. The LMS just stifling every attempt at aggression from the European squad.
Just so cold and calculated here. They're steamrolling ahead. Absolute control here for the LMS. They can get another turret, probably 2 more turrets before they even have to back off and grab the Infernal Drake, if they even have to give up.
They're on their way to a 3-0 run through the group stage. The LMS hoping to take the #1 spot with this win for sure. Europe are do the best they can. The lead 6,000 is quite large. It's not insurmountable, but it's difficult. Another stun's gonna land. This is short work for sOAZ. One more shot. I'll do him in FoFo. Grabbing his first kill of the game and walks away, staying alive thanks to a shield from SwordArT. As mid lane tier 2 falls, they get it 6-1 in turrets, 6-1 in kills as well. Not a lot left for the European LCS to do here. They'll need to attack whatever they can. The pushback's not going to happen. Ziv does not quite reach IgNar there, but he tried.
Yeah, it's just up to Kog'Maw, puking his little guts out here. How much damage can he get out? Enough for 5 people?
Not enough. No, there doesn't seem much of a chance here. This one is the next turret has already fallen. The inhibitor going to drop as well. 7-1 in turrets. LMS going to get a clean reset here.
Yeah, actually, they don't even have enough threat on Europe to force LMS to take the Infernal Drake first. They can back with their Baron and Power Recalls and get to the Infernal before Europe could even get there and steal it. So looks like they'll be able to get everything that they wanted out of this one. Here's another look at sOAZ going in onto Karsa, the tank, who immediately turns around, slaps him up, and 2 kills very quickly over to the LMS carries.
Just dying kind of in the sights of everyone else there. Tried to help and just did not matter. So Infernal can be picked up pretty cleanly now. The LMS just adding more Pokemon to their collection, and they are actually just so eerily close to a perfect game. Only 1 turret, only 1 kill. This is very little they've given away in this game, and they have certainly looked like the best team so far at this tournament, I would say. I mean, they beat Korea really cleanly. The European game here is probably about as convincing, to be honest.
Decidedly so. Here we go. Bebe jumps in on sOAZ.
And Bebe just blasts him in the one-on-one. It's not even close anymore. Oh, this is horrible. And I just feel bad for sOAZ now. 0-5-1. Can't even fight the bot laner.
Yeah, it feels bad when the Tristana is jumping into your cage here and wants to 1v1 you. Karsa, though, going to be able to get out easily. As we said, this guy is massively tanky on the Sejuani. Not perturbed at all by any of the damage that Europe has thrown out.
Right here, not going to find it yet, but mid lane still being sieged in. And not much to accomplish on that side. They're going to reset, move over to the top side now, rotate, whatever you want to call it. Top lane going to fall now onto the second inhibitor here. sOAZ still dead for 15 seconds or so, which means no defense to be had. Inhibitor will fall cleanly. They're going to give that one over to Bebe pretty easily, and only 1 inhibitor left to kill.
Slowly closing the loop here. Europe does not want to take the 5-on-5 fight, but that's going to be the only option available. Corralled inside their base. 1 last inhibitor turret left. As you said, will this be the point to try and make the crazy play? Because in order to make a crazy play, you have to get around Gnar Sejuani, then you have to get around Janna, and then it's the 2 self-peeling, scaling carries that we talked about.
Azir and Trist also can push you back with their ultimates. There's not a lot of easy ways in, and it's been rough stuff. And of course, sOAZ, facing lots of hard CC, lots of permanent duration slows. But let's see if Jankos can find himself the kick. He's got his Black Cleaver. He's going towards his Stone Plate now, but it's a long time to go till it's completed. FoFo waiting over the walls, doesn't find the all-in play just yet. The siege can push forward. Bebe, plenty of range for his attack. Not going to have it here as Jankos. The rest of the team kites back. And he burns the safeguard shield. Lets him cool down for 3 more seconds.
1 more minion wave left to push on here before they can all bring the extra power down to this bottom turret. And this should be the push. Let's see if there's any inroads. Already control wards going down here, so Karsa's not letting in to get any vision over the walls. Ziv is almost charged up on Gnar. They're just itching for any sort of mistake here from Europe. They could just close the trap immediately.
So far, nothing to be found for the European inroads there. Down 10,000 gold, only 50k to their name. A 20% gold lead is gigantic for the LMS. They have almost everything they need to win this one.
Bebe announces his retirement, and now they just come in, dominate All-Stars. They're looking to resurge like Season 2 or something
Exactly,
here.
right? Bebe makes the huge splash in 2012, winning the World Championship. He's going to say, you know what, I'm on my way out. Let's win another championship here. And this one, no big deal. We'll take down 3 in the group stage. No problems here. and ride his way off into the sunset with 2 pretty big titles to his name.
All right.
5 years apart.
You know what the name of the game is, Freak?
League of Legends.
No.
What?
Baron.
What are we casting?
We're casting Baron Dance. Year 2017. And it's going to be Europe tied up in their base, and pretty much only LMS are invited to that dance, it looks like. They've got the extra mountain and Infernal Drakes to take down Baron. It's 15 seconds away before we start. And we'll see if Europe even wants to go play.
That's a really long name for a dance, Kobe. I can't remember that all.
All right, it was a pretty bad name.
Jankos, though, gets the kick onto the back line, but does it matter? No, none of the damage lands. Karsa still has the Frost Armor available. The Flash forward, they're going to get the stun. PoE cleanses, gets away from this one, but the re-engage is there. Does it have the damage? No! It's going to be Jankos, already dropped off the face here. The second one goes down as IgNar. 2 for 0 so far. The third going to drop as well. That's goodbye to Rekkles. That's goodbye to PoE. sOAZ standing alone. Kills him. Minuwave to buy some time to maybe get a few more moments for his team, but guess what? Top lane was pushing the whole time anyway, so there's a Minuwave here as well. And LMS can run that one in, and look at that. Top lane turret gonna fall. The second next turret gonna drop over as well, and sOAZ just gonna save his KDA to a 0.2, and not make it a 0.16. Nexus falls, LMS 3-0. Top in the group, beautiful play from them.
Oh my goodness, what a game from the LMS. Complete control here for almost the entire game. You know, they stayed strong in the early game, then got out to a decent lead in the mid game, and methodically closed the loop.
The fact that they gave away basically no kills the entire game, I think it was 1 kill, 1 turret, for an entirety of the game is really impeccable stuff. Again, it looked like their convincing win over Korea as well. We're like, oh, but Korean macro, they'll just find the opening, and that never happened. Same thing here. The sOAZ split push was always stifled so well by Ziv. Karsa, when he went for the plays, they always seemed to work. FoFo was on point on the Azir as well, bringing in that one, and it's him bringing in 2 somewhat new champions. Azir was not in the game for the entire year up until very recently. Zoe literally wasn't until very recently, and looked very good on some newer looks for him. The 2-time MVP, the All-Star here, making a lot of good things happen. So the European LCS, they are now Turkey's biggest fans. If Turkey somehow upsets Korea in their final game, 3-way tie for second. Otherwise, Europe's out.
Everybody's looking at those ties too. They're pretty juicy. Settled by some 1v1 shootouts. Could be exciting if some craziness does happen, but the end of the story is LMS are the team to beat here at All-Stars 2017. They have absolutely shown up as the strongest team, and everybody's going to have their eyes on them, looking towards the group stage. Congratulations to them. They're the first ones to move on.
They are the first ones to move on. And speaking of people to have their eyes on, I see you guys in the crowd with the Zoe is fun and balanced signs. Shout out you guys. I agree, she is both fun and fun. Not so sure about the last word out there, but shout out to these guys. And either way, I mean, it's been a great tournament, so the LMS can now look back and say, okay, we know SwordArT made his way through. FoFo already lost, sadly, to Bjergsen, I believe, in the first round, unless I have my names backwards. But yeah, so FoFo is out of the 1v1s. SwordArT is going to play today. He's still in. That'll be fun. And of course, the LMS we know are into the top 4 of the 5-on-5 Summoners Rift as well. And I mean, this team does look sharp. Whoever they will end up playing in their first run at the other side of the bracket, whether China drops down or NA makes it in or SEA makes it up by winning their last match, any of those can happen. And, curious to see how they can start doing in best of 3s and best of 5s at the end.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if teams can push the pace against them. Like, if you're going to go with such a solid team comp that we're talking about where, late game they've got this front line, they have super reliable carries and lots of disengage and stuff. Is there a team that's going to be able to actually get the early game off the ground where everyone's like, oh, preseason's so crazy, so much damage flying around. Can you convert that? Can you push out a lead?
And it's also them playing another style, right? It's just like we saw from SEA. They're not playing poke. They're playing a conventional team fight comp, Azir, Trist, typical front line, and it's working very well. So fun to see more reads in the meta, what LMS thinks works well, clearly working well for them. And now to hear more about that win and secured #1 seed from the LMS, let's send it over to Pastry Time and their all-star jungler.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Karsa after a very strong-looking group stage here in the All-Stars. I have to ask you, how do you feel finishing first in the group and moving forward to the knockout stage?
这次明星赛的表现已经非常的优异。那你现在是以第1种子的身份出赛了，那你现在的感想是什么？
就是运气不错，有打赢 LCK，就觉得运气很好而已。
I feel pretty lucky to actually beat LCK, so I think right now it's just very lucky.
Oh, I personally, I don't think so. I think you've been playing very well. What is it about the All-Star tournament? Is it the changes to the game? Just kind of at the end of the year feeling good? I think you're playing very well. What do you think?
这次明星赛你表现得非常优异，那你觉得是有什么分别吗？是什么样的原因让你表现得如此优异？
我觉得跟因为 S8的改动有一些关系，就是现在的打野英雄比较偏向攻击型的英雄，就是像李欣、卡莉丝这种我比较容易掌握的英雄，所以我觉得这个版本比较适合我。
So the current meta, the main reason is basically the current meta. The SA current meta is very good on some of the assassin type of champions, especially like Lee Sin, Kalista, all this kind of stuff. So that's why I was doing pretty well.
And I have to say, your teammates have also been doing a good job, which is impressive, given that you haven't played together really before. What do you think of your teammates, and in particular the mid laner FoFo?
这次你总算有办法可以跟FoFo 在同一个队伍里面比赛，你的感想是什么？
因为他很年轻嘛，就我觉得他是一位很有天分的就新人玩家，就虽然他也打很久了，就是我觉得他打的真的蛮好的。
He's a very young player right now, and he's very talented, full of potential. So he's been played very well.
Well, it's certainly been looking good. Thank you very much, Karsa, and good luck in the semifinals. We are going to hit it back to the analyst desk, though, to get their thoughts.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. A dream meta for a player like Karsa out of the jungle, though funnily enough, getting their third victory here in the group stage on Sejuani this time around. So a slightly tankier choice for him here, but topping the group, the LMS squad.
I mean, he's been having an amazing tournament, and the LMS as a whole has looked so good. And although people still have memories of Karsa and Maple and these guys kind of smashing in the past, it's been a while, really, since the LMS has looked this dominant. And despite the fact that it is All-Stars, despite the fact that it is kind of more for fun, it's a really good showing from them.
And it was a very methodical win for the LMS, but to me, it really completes the picture for them because it was very different from the other games they played. Like you say, the Sejuani already represents a different type of team comp. This is very late game scaling team fight comp coming through from the LMS. So not the same way they found a victory most famously in that game against the LCK. And yet, there was never really any doubt in the result after a couple of early ganks and after they got ahead in the early game with the scaling advantage.
Yeah, the fact that they had the Azir, the Sejuani, the Tristana, alongside a Janna, it looked like right from the get-go in the draft that Europe really didn't have a whole lot of win conditions. They'd have to win a split push, have the Kog'Maw, maybe get to level 16. But there's just so much scaling here for the LMS, and they were able to play that slower game and not allow Jankos to affect the lanes.
And honestly, when you draft yourself into a comp that like doesn't have a lot of win conditions, you kind of just have to say, well, it's probably just a bad draft, right? Like when the way you talk about them winning, is the split push. When you talk about at least maybe snowballing the game early, well, it's a couple minutes into the game. The Sejuani just got first blood. It's already a level up. It's already gold up on this Lee Sin, and now the Lee Sin never gets to be as effective for the rest of the game. And it felt very early on like they were already out of it because of the picks and because of the fact that they weren't very effective in the early stages.
It felt scattered because the Kog'Maw is artillery. Usually you think, okay, strong front line in front of the Kog'Maw wasn't there, so they needed to get a big split push happening. But of course, if the split push is happening, if all the gold is on the top lane of the Camille popping off, the Kog'Maw's probably going to be pretty isolated and probably going to be
popping off.
No. well.
What's our popping, though?
We're still talking about ifs.
Yeah,
a lot of ifs had to come together for the victory to come here, and it did feel like LMS's game to lose after about 5-10 minutes.
Oh, that's for sure. What's the feeling on the Kog'Maw pick, you know, in general, though? Because it feels like a substitution for a Xayah, right, in the Azir matchup where you're looking for range, but he was tickling people, literally tickling people.
I know my
the
first
entire
thought,
game.
Zyrene, is that it felt like it was a PoE special. He's famous for the AP Kog'Maw, so it felt like kind of a hearkening to the old All-Star days where it's like, I'll show my big pick when we're mathematically eliminated, but that wasn't the case for Europe coming into this game, and it just felt like a very PowerOfEvil champion, but not the right pick in the moment.
Yeah, and I think it takes way too much gold to be effective because you're looking at these items that he had on him, Archangel's Staff, sitting on Lost Chapter, then he gets Morelos, and then eventually he's looking towards like a Void Staff. Very low in terms of the penetration on that build, and it's very mana hungry, kind of relying on presence of mind to get an assist or a kill during the game. When he ends up with 0, it's like, this is not really something that I feel like is a viable win condition because of the fact that, you know, you need a big front line. They didn't have one. And then at that point, it takes too long in a sustained fight to get the damage out, and you need too much gold. There's way better champions you can be picking that can accomplish a similar thing.
So I will say, obviously, it didn't work out, but if you can actually delay the game, you can get to a stage where you have infinite wave clear. If you hit level 16, get those items, you can take over. So obviously, things didn't go the way they wanted, but it's still a pick that, in my opinion, can work.
LMS topping Group A here, the first of the teams to move on to the knockout stage. We're going to head to a commercial break. When we return, the Brazilian All-Stars take to the stage versus the team from Southeast Asia. Don't go anywhere.
Actually, we might have a dive here, so let's talk about sOAZ. Summoner sOAZ, no summoners, no ultimate, not any way out at all.
小心要闪吞哦！我要先拿，我要先拿。Nice.
Ziv can no longer handle the 1v1. He's kind of picking two. He's got no way out. Two more attacks will do him in, but only one lands the boomerang from Fog of War.
坦克级跟Kog'Maw都是。他没有闪，他没有闪，他没有闪。我神死你们了！Nice！ 哎，怎么再扛？给你断了，给你断了。
Here we go. Bebe jumps in on sOAZ. And Bebe just blasts him in the one-on-one. It's not even close anymore. The re-engage is there. Does it have the damage? No. It's going to be Jankos already drops off the face here. The second one goes down as IgNar. 2 for 0 so far. The third going to drop as well. That's goodbye to Rekkles. LMS 3-0. Top in the group. Beautiful play from them.